Good morning, Karen from Quantum Heart Awakening. Today we're going to do a Divine Feminine check-in. So let's all take a moment, take a deep breath and ground in the present moment, wherever you are. Okay, so I started this reading and I had some noise conflicts, so I regrouped and moved. I am basically outdoors, so bear with me with the birds and the cars and the people and all the things. We're going to do the best we can with what we have and where we're at. Okay. Divine Feminines, this is a sacred time. You are being called to carve out space in your schedule where you can be alone with the divine, where you can take a time out from your life, from the busy schedules, from the job, from the internal, external jobs, and really just pause so that you can create an opportunity for divine wisdom to come into your heart, to flood your circuitry so that you can receive some little nugget of truth that will have a positive effect on your self-esteem and self-confidence. You are going to need this next supercharged, you're going to need gas in the tank for whatever this next part of your journey is. You're being called to have perseverance, to take effort rooted in self-confidence, and that confidence is rooted in your ability to trust your intuition. If you're struggling to identify your intuition, persevere through it. Keep surrendering, keep asking the divine for guidance. If you don't know the way, ask, right? If you don't know how to get out of a certain situation internally, psychically, psychologically, emotionally, ask the divine for help. You're never doing this work alone. Okay. Yeah, you're being called to supercharge your self-esteem because your abundance is on the other side of being able to make these changes, not just make, but really deeply implement these changes in a way that is in alignment with your soul's deepest truth, your soul's deepest intuition. You're being asked to have compassion for the parts of self that are struggling to listen to whatever truth is bubbling up inside of you right now, feminines. What's blocking this process, Spirit? Yeah, self-esteem. We have brazen. That's the card of the boldness, right? Okay, and then we have self-sabotage. Thank you. Anything else for these divine feminines? What else is blocking? What else is blocking? Anything else, Spirit? We have fearless love. Okay, yeah, some of us have been kicked when we've been down. Some of us have been deeply wounded and heartbroken, and it's really hard to pick ourselves up after that. If you've been in situations or experienced circumstances where someone made you believe that you were not enough, that you were not worthy to take up space, when to take up space being your authentic self, it could have put a few dents in your self-esteem. It could have knocked you down a few pegs. I'm sorry, I'm having a hard time because I'm using my headphones recording and it's like tripping me up. So bear with me as I compete with all of these. I get really distracted easily, and I usually do this alone in silence. So forgive me. Thank you for your patience. Okay, feminines, you're being asked to cultivate a reference point for a time in your life where you made a bold move, where you said a bold thing, where you didn't give a F what anyone else thought. You know, try to recall a time in your life where you were exactly who you authentically were before there was any criticism, before there was any judgment. And this could have been when you were a little kid. You know, when you think of little kids, they're just so freaking fearless and they're so inspiring and sweet and precious. And even if they say something outrageous or inappropriate, there's so much leeway and forgiveness and space that we give children to discover who they are. And yet somehow in adulthood, we stop giving people the benefit of the doubt. We stop giving people all this sacred space to discover a new part of self. And it's just so funny because as you get older, you experience even crazier things. And we're all supposed to pretend that we all have it together and we all know all the answers and we're sovereign beings and, you know, we don't need parents anymore. We don't need guidance, but it couldn't be further from the truth. Okay. Oh, I didn't speak about this other card. So we have the Spirit of Mott here. It's the giving and receiving card. So, feminines, you give so much of yourselves 24/7 to so many people, places, and things. You pour out your love. You give it so freely, whether people ask for it or not. And you are being called to create this sacred space, to take a time out from your daily duties of giving to actually pause so that you can receive. And if you are living a life or if you are experiencing circumstances where you receive very little in your life, this is all the more reason to create a rendezvous with the divine, to create a rendezvous with God and allow yourself the honor and the right, right's not the right word, the honor of God to fill your cup, to fill your heart, to lick your wounds. For once in your life in this sacred container, this is one time you don't have to step up, you don't have to show up. You could just surrender, unplug. You don't have to earn your keep. You don't have to prove your worthiness. You don't have to perform for a certain desired outcome. You don't have to wear any masks. You could take off all of the masks, all of your armor, anything that you have been made to feel that you had to maintain in order to be loved. You get to put it down and just receive. What's in the unconscious position is this alchemy card. Some of you are rebelling against this process. I'm not sure why. That would have to do with maybe your upbringing or, some of us have experienced narratives that where we picked up the message that we can't rely on anyone but ourselves. So we try to do it all ourselves. And that includes forgetting the divine, forgetting that the divine can actually help us, that we have a whole nother, quantum participant who's open, ready, and willing to support us. And so some of you are pushing away this alchemical process. Yeah, the message I'm getting, like the visual I'm getting is that half of it's blurry, half is clear. I'm just seeing this image and the image itself isn't clear. I'm just seeing colors. Half is black and white and half is gray. Hold on. Yeah, so for half of you listening, some of this is very clear for you. Some of us, most of you, well, half of you know exactly what I'm saying when I'm speaking this. For another half of you, there's sort of this blurry, wishy-washy relationship that you have with transmutation, with the alchemical process. And honestly, I'm shocked it's not more than half of you, because most of us were raised in this society where we are taught to take control. We are taught that we create our reality. So it's all up to us. It's all on us. It's our responsibility. Excuse me. I'm so sorry. I had a coughing fit right there. Most of us are taught that it's up to us, that no one's coming to save us, that we have to take accountability. No superhero is going to come in, swoop in, and save us. And yet, by doing that, by stepping into that sort of hyper independence, we abandon all of these sacred moments on our path that can arrive from asking for help. whether that's asking the divine for help or whether that's actually reaching out to have a moment of connection with someone and saying, I'm really struggling. I need some support right now. And that's a really hard thing. Remember, we have feminines. I don't know if I spoke about this in this reading or the other recording I did, but you have pride in the unconscious. So some of you have to knock your ego down a peg because your ego is preventing you from asking for the help that you need. Your ego is telling you that you're worthless and that you have to figure it out on your own. And if you ask for help, you're a failure, and all of these shadowy, awful things. So it's up to you to parent the part of self that is judging this process. And so, yeah, I'm just really curious, like, what does alchemy mean to you? I know what it means to me, and I know what it means as a function in the greater collective. I know what it means in a spiritual context, in an esoteric context, in a psychological context. But what does it mean to you? Because it's meaning, whatever meaning you're creating is keeping you away from it. So I'm just curious for you, and you don't have to answer. If you want to, you could put it down in the comments, but this is more a prompt for you to come into deeper relationship with this sort of ritualistic, alchemy is changing, base metals into gold. It's taking one substance and turning it into a completely different substance. And that's sort of the analogy of transformation on this spiritual process. We exist as one substance, right? We're raised, our root chakra hard drive is installed with our family of origin, our culture, our society, our socioeconomic status, the religion we're going to be, all of these stories about the world and the world according to our family and what they tell us to be true about the world. And then somewhere along the way, we either agree with that or we disagree with it, right? It's either blissful and we're flowing down the river, or some of us have families where we feel like we're swimming upstream all the time because we don't agree with this sort of family hard drive that we were born with. And so that impetus for growth is what initiates most people on their path of truth, on their path of seeking something different, something greater than, this micro truth that they experience in their own families. All right, let's see. Spirit. I'm sorry, I'm shaking the table and everything else. Bear with me. This situation is not ideal, and I thank you for rolling with the punches. I hope you're just listening and not watching because it might make you dizzy with this table. All right, Spirit, anything for Divine Feminines? Anything for Divine Feminines? What do we need to know? The highest and best good of self on the planet. Thank you so much. We have a father's love. It says, a father's love for his son or daughter never dies. The strength gained from such love is often unquantifiable in that it can be tapped into at any time for whatever reason, whether your father is still here or has passed. A father's love is one of the strongest bonds any of us will ever experience. I'm welling up with tears because I think in the feminine collective, because that's who we're reading here, I think there's been a lot of collective abandonment. And we can, yes, maybe your actual father abandoned you or your siblings or your family in some real 3D capacity. But from a zoomed out greater perspective, when we look at this patriarchal context, we could say that the collective father has abandoned the daughter, has abandoned the divine feminine within. Sorry, I'm just letting that again transmute, alchemize. I think what's being repatterned, feminines, is the way we come into relationship with masculine energy, whether it's, you know, the good, the bad, the ugly. We're repatterning ourselves. We're unwinding our trauma with sort of abusive, patriarchal influences to excavate the reference point for an exalted masculine. A lot of feminines on the planet don't have a reference point. They've never seen a soft masculine that's holding the highest and best possible intention. They've never seen a conscious, divine masculine, you know, in divine partnership or raising children or leading up a big company. It's very rare, I think, for a lot of feminines. Maybe it's not rare, but maybe it's that there's such a surplus of the denser, the darker, the unhealthy, the wounded masculine. So maybe it's not that it's so rare. I think it's just flooded by this other energy. And so something that we're learning right now is to come into balance with these things, to understand, to honor the light and the dark, and to understand that we get to choose. We get to choose that what energy we tap into. Because here's the thing about all this energetic work, whatever we believe to be true is what is magnetized towards us. So if you believe that, you know, masculine energy is evil and corrupt and all these negative things, that is what you will view in the world. If you believe that masculine energy can be constructive and strong and, you know, an example of a, you know, holding their center for love in chaos, in turmoil, leading the world into a new horizon, a new possibility, then that's what you'll see. So it's really important that we babysit and heal our relationship with masculine energy. Anything else, Spirit? Anything else? Yeah, that took a lot out of me for some reason, and I don't feel that complete with it. So let's see if anything else comes up. Yeah, we have this cleanse card. Waiting for this card to pass. It says, your body, mind, and soul are urging you to take time for some much needed cleansing. Just as you wash your car, clean the house, or tidy your office, your body also needs care and attention. It's time for some spiritual, emotional, and physical cleansing. This goes along with this time out. So in this timeout, it's very important that you ready the vessel, that you ready the temple. You know, when you invite people to your temple, you don't just leave everything dark and dusty. No, you probably dust, you sweep, you clean up, maybe you polish some things, maybe you open all the windows and doors, get some airflow in there. And so, feminines, you are being called. How can you come into a more aligned relationship with your body specifically? What do you need to do to feel good? And this is on your own. This is what you need to feel baseline good every day that you wake up. What would be of the highest and best possible interpretation of your wants, needs, and desires for self, not relating to another person, not relating to your masculine. Is there anything else, Spirit? Anything else for these beloveds? Whoa, okay. And then we have support here. It says people come into your life for many different reasons. Some you learn from and then move on, while others return often because you need to learn more from those individuals. Others remain beside you throughout your entire life. Yeah, this is just creating peace. Creating peace. Can you honor the ebb and flow of relationships? Can you put in extra energy and effort to the people that you want to keep in your life, to nourish those relationships? And can you dare to love yourself enough to cut the cord of people that no longer serve your highest good? That second one is a tough one, right? It's hard. You know, I've heard the, oh, but I've been friends with them forever. That's lovely. But, you know, if they're no longer energizing you, if they're no longer supporting your mental health, your pleasure, your play, your fun, your silliness, if they're not adding to your life, they're taking away. Yeah, I'm just going to leave that there. In the unconscious position, we have self-love. It says, now is the time to love, nurture, and heal yourself. Self-love is not simply a state of mind about feeling good. It's a state of appreciation for yourself that grows and matures from actions you take to support your body, mind, and soul. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Let's get some whispers from the woods. Anything for Divine Feminines? Thank you. We have forbearance. Do not be deterred by the thorn amidst the roses. Again, this is about clarity of conviction. This is about accessing your intuition, having enough self-esteem to believe what your intuition is telling you, and have enough perseverance to take that intuition over the finish line. Remember, the core of this message is taking a time out of your life to create some space. Maybe it's a, weekend getaway or a retreat. Maybe it's going to sit for 30 minutes on your lunch break on the beach and stare off into the ocean. Maybe it's just 5 minutes on your car ride home from work. Whatever it is, feminines, you're being asked to create some softness, a soft place for you to land where the divine could meet you in sacred union. I think I'm going to leave it there. I'm sending you all so much love, and I'll see you in the next one.